I'm Chris Talbot-Heindel. I am the Communications and Membership Manager of Rocky Mountain Wild. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our citizen science projects today. Rocky Mountain Wild uses citizen scientists to collect data that we need to help protect the endangered and threatened species in our region. And the reason why we do this is we just don't have the capacity to do it ourselves. And a lot of times, citizen scientists can collect a lot of data because there's so many of them. And we have 3 programs where we use citizen scientists quite often. We have our Front Range Pika project that collects data on the habits of pika. And the hope is that we'll be able to get a clearer picture of how climate change may or may not be affecting pika.
This is how you become a scientist. You had to change the way you think.
To be a scientist, you had to be curious. Question everything that exists in the universe. To be a scientist, you had to have a skeptical brain. Strong evidence is needed for strong claims. To be a scientist, you have to wonder, investigate, test, uncover, and discover. To be a scientist, you need to have an open mind, open to suggestion and the test of time. You don't need glasses to be a scientist. You don't need a lab coat to be a scientist. You don't need to be a male to be a scientist. You don't need to be a certain race to be a scientist. The truth is, we're all born scientists. As children, all of us.
We have our Vail Pass Wildlife Monitoring Project, and what that is along the I-70 mountain corridor, we have camera traps set up to see what critters are trying to cross at I-70. And we have our citizen scientists who put out those cameras in specific locations along that corridor. And we also have our Zooniverse project, where people can look at the photographs that have been taken from the wildlife cameras and identify the critters that are in it. And so, having our biologists go through all that data would have taken a long time, but our citizen scientists were able to go through hundreds of thousands of pictures in, I think it was about a month.
Curious. As children, all of us wonder, investigate, test, uncover, and discover. It doesn't take much if you want to be a scientist. Follow your heart if you want to be a scientist. Don't stop if you want to be a scientist. Keep going if you want to be a scientist. Life is rewarding if you love what you do. Keep your eyes on the prize while you go through school. And during your journey, if you're ever confused, just know if you're human, then there's science in you. Yay, science.
The last citizen science project that we have is random bio-blitzes. So periodically we have bio-blitzes where citizen scientists go out to a location that may need some data to argue for its protection. And so we have our citizen scientists go to location and observe all of the species that are at that location during that time of year. So they take pictures, and again, we have citizen scientists look at all the pictures and try to identify what specific species has been captured. So we have these opportunities, and we really need some new materials. We're trying to expand our citizen science programs to cover more species and to provide more opportunities for people who really care about the species in our region to be able to do something about it. So the $500 would go a long way to training our citizen scientists to be able to do to collect the data that they collect and to sort through it for our biologists who can then use it to advocate for the habitats, the wildlands, and the wildlife in the southern Rocky Mountains.
This is how you become a scientist. You had to change the way you think.
To be a scientist, you had to be curious. Question everything that exists in the universe. To be a scientist, you had to have a skeptical brain. Strong evidence is needed for strong claims. To be a scientist, you have to wonder.